Hello, this is Dastraction Wolf. This is part 2 of Altered Beast Let's Play. This time what we're going to be doing is going through the hard mode, hopefully. It's been a while since I've played hard, so I don't know how well I'm going to do. I might end up having to adjust the lives and things to actually make it through. And I'll try to keep the video length down to around 10 minutes so that if in the future it takes me longer than expected to get through something, we'll be able to pull it off still. So, a couple of things. I want to talk more about this game, and I also, hopefully, we'll get the opportunity to talk a little bit about this channel. First, though, let me show you the options menu. That's something a lot of people don't know about. To access the options menu in a lot of these early Genesis games, there wasn't an option on the main title itself. You usually had to press start in combination with another button. That's true of most of the launch titles. So for this one, it's B in start. And that brings up this thing, which is almost more of a cheat, it looks like, than a options menu. You can pick which round you start on. As you can see there. And change the difficulty setting between normal, hard, and hardest. You can adjust your power. It's the number of hit points, basically. And the number of lives you have. Which I think I might have just increased it. I can't remember. I know it says 2, but I don't know how that works on this, if 0 is counted here. So I'm going to keep it to 3. If I'm cheating, oh well. Go tell on me if you want. But I won't adjust the power level just yet. I'll see how that pans out. So that was, this is the options menu. And that's how you access it. B and start. Now there's also another way you could cheat, which would make this all kind of unnecessary, unless you're going for points, because I think this resets the points. But holding down A and start when you die will bring you back to the last level that you were on. So if you just really want to complete the game, you have absolutely no excuse for not doing so. So anyway, this channel, basically, I love Sega. I've cheated on her before, but I always come back. And I've wanted to do a YouTube channel for a long time. So that's really what this is about. I
Rise from your grave.
I went through a point where I was trying to go back into retro gaming and play a lot of these games that I grew up with and try some new ones. And I'll talk plenty in future videos too about my whole gaming history, but I wanted to do something a little bit more than just play the games. In the modern era, we have all these achievements and trophies and things, and I wanted something like that to kind of keep track of my progress and make gaming a little bit more of a challenge. So I tried a few different systems, became kind of obsessive about it for a while, but ultimately I realized what was missing from gaming was just that almost that social factor. And I had already been a big fan of a lot of YouTube channels about gaming and films and things like that. There's a lot of YouTube personalities I'm a huge fan of. Game Grumps and Classic Game Room, the Nostalgia Critic, Angry Video Game Nerd, of course. And I wasn't trying to emulate or copy them, but the Let's Play community in general really fascinated me. I have no idea who watches these things besides me, but I really enjoy seeing other people's opinions on games and watching their skills progress through these YouTube videos. So I was really excited about the chance to join that community. Notice here how much harder this first boss gets. He throws some really interesting patterns our way and kind of forces us to use this second power that this first transformation has. See, that power almost looks useless the first time you play this level until you play this boss. That's what I mean when I say this game gets more interesting the harder it gets. See how I have no choice but to use it to get through these heads? Oh, my timing's off. I haven't done this in a long time. But so I eventually decided to just saddle up, get the recording equipment I needed, despite having no experience in editing or anything like that, and try making my own Let's Plays, of which this is my first. The idea, though, is I'm going to do about 150 Genesis games that I've selected that I would like to go through. and complete different goals with. Like with Altered Beast, I'm trying to do all 3 difficulty levels. It won't always be something that complicated, and I can't always promise that I'll do it, but I'll have a goal in mind with each game that I do. Whether it's just completing it once or completing it on certain difficulties or with all the characters, there will always be something specific for each game that I try to master. This round gets quite a bit harder. It's a lot more stuff being flung at you, but what I like about it is that it's not like some games when you increase the difficulty setting and it just becomes frustrating. They just throw so much at you that the game is unplayable. It doesn't feel like that to me at all. It's just one of those rare games that increasing the difficulty setting increases the challenge without decreasing the fun factor. And I think it actually gets a lot more fun at this difficulty level, despite the fact that I'm really sucking right now. I am not doing a good job at all. You'll notice all the bosses get a little bit harder in different ways. And some of the creativity of the design studio really shine through when you see how the bosses alter from difficulty level to difficulty level. Because another reason why I say this game is really meant to be played as a points game, where after beating it on one difficulty setting, you just keep playing the same game on through to the next, and see how long you can survive. Damn it. I'm not sure who produced this one. I'm pretty sure this is not a Yu Suzuki game. I believe in the end credits, it's spelled incorrectly, but I think they mentioned Team Shinobi at one point. So 150 Sega Genesis games, and I had initially considered actually going through just the entire Sega library, not of games. I think that would take too long. I'd considered doing something with the entire library of the Genesis before, but it's just, you know, after a while, there are so many bad games that it's not fun any longer when you do that. But even with something like this, I had considered starting with the Master System, which is a console I have a lot of respect for, but I just didn't grow up with it. And the more I thought about it, while there's a lot of cool things to say about the Master System itself, there's really only a handful of games that interest me enough to want to own them. And regardless of how I record my games, I always own them. So it just wasn't worth it to me. And if you're curious, the games I would be looking at for a Master System would probably be things like Phantasy Star, Shinobi, Fantasy Zone. Zillion would be one I'd be interested in playing, but the problem with the Master System is that once you get past 1989, and even a little bit before that, most of the games are just really bad ports of Genesis titles. So what's the point when I could be playing the Genesis version of the game? Yeah, this run really sucked. We're going to go back through and see if I can do a little bit better. And if I can't, then we're going to start doing continues after this. Ouch. But it's alright. I'm getting out what I wanted to get out. So I ultimately decided the Master System just wasn't worth it to me. If, in the distant future, I get through all these Genesis games, I might consider going back and doing Saturn and Dreamcast. And you know, maybe Master System one day in the distant future if this really takes off. But right now we're concentrating one game at a time, and we're starting with the Sega Genesis. Let's see if we can do a little bit better than we did last time. Let me make sure that we're still on the hard difficulty mode. We are.